Alright, so now we're going to do the roof for this guy. So if I go to my roof level, and just to revisit that, can come in and see we've got the columns. Let me go to shaded here. We've got the columns, the porch, the walls, and there's our level Doyle Roof, A1 and A0. So I'm going to go to level Doyle Roof, and I'm going to create a roof here. So if I go to roof, it wants me to make an outline just like we've been doing. A couple of things, always sort of checking different settings over here in your properties and your status bar. I'm going to have the overhang be 1'6", so that's set to 1'6". The edges are going to define a slope, which is fine. And then it wants a boundary line, so it wants the outline of the roof. We have the pick walls option, which we can use, or we can use any of the other draw commands. So if I hover over the pick wall, tap the tab key, it will pick all those chains of walls. So if I left click, it will place that roof in. Now you notice that the roof is set to 9 and 12, the slope. And I don't want it to be at 9 and 12, I really want it to be at 5 and 12. So I'm going to go to modify to stop the pick walls command, and I'm just going to window around all of those magenta lines, and over here it's going to give me the slope of those lines, and I'm going to change that to 5 and 12, and I'm going to go big green check. And now if I go to my 3D view, you can see that I have a roof. Now the roof that we have in the existing building actually has a flat piece. It doesn't come to a peak right there, it's actually flat across. So in order to do that, you can go to your Doyle Roof plan, you can go to Architecture, Opening, Vertical, pick the roof, draw, I guess we could draw a rectangle from there to there, and then if I pick that line, I wonder if it'll give me a distance to there. Let's just make that 6 feet, or maybe even 5 feet. It seems a little big. And then do the same thing for this one. So 5 feet. And then we should be able to move that into the intersection and move that into the intersection so it all equals out. Right? Let's see if I can, it's hoping it will snap. There it goes. Yeah. Just double click on, check on this one, make sure it's snapping to that edge. Okay. Once we do that, we can hit check and it cuts a hole in the roof. So now I have a hole, and now I need to go in and put another roof on that. So I'll go to roof, and I'm going to use the boundary line and a rectangle for this one, and it is not going to define a slope because it's going to be, so I'm removing the check for define slope because it's going to be flat, and I'm just going to do a rectangle right there. Hit the big green check, and I'm going to go, and my roof is down below in the section, so I'm just going to pick it and I'm going to move it up. Alright, so if I go to my 3D view, there's the roof. Now we're going to do the roof for the porch. Go back to the roof, going to come in, go to my wireframe down here, go again to, and actually I guess I could hide in view that background layer because I don't really need it in this view, this one either, hide in view element, so it's a little cleaner. I'm going to go to roof, draw a boundary line. I'm going to use the pick line command for this, and I'm going to offset it by 1 foot, and I'm going to use the porch to offset since it's the porch roof. And then for the last part of the porch, I'm just going to draw a line, and I'll draw it there, and it offset it, so I'm going to go to the align command up here, pick what I don't want to move and pick what I want to move to it. And then none of these are sloped because you can't, there are no triangles on it, so I'm going to use control to pick those 3 lines, and I'm going to define roof slope, and I'm going to make that 5 and 12 so it matches the other roof, and I'm going to hit check. And if I go to my 3D view, you will see I have a roof that's way too high. So I'll go back to my roof plan, and I want an elevation of this. So I'm going to go into my View tab, go to Elevation, make sure it says Elevation Building Elevation. I like the building elevation gray arrow that I created. You have a copy of that, or you can use the regular one. If you come in, it will point in the direction of a Revit wall. So I'm going to left click there. And if I come over to my elevations, you'll see it creates an elevation. I'm going to right click on that and rename it to Doyle South. Okay, so now we have a south elevation. I'm also going to select that elevation and I'm going to scope box it just like we've been doing the plans. Scope box it to the Doyle scope box and then double click on it. So I can see this roof and I'm just going to pick it and move it down. How about, I don't know, maybe 5 feet? Maybe up 6 inches, right? And that looks good except for the columns, right? The columns are shooting through the roof. So just for expedience sake, like I said, this is schematic. This is an array. So if I pick one, I can edit the group. I can pick that column and I can attach top base to that roof. And if I hit check, it'll cascade through all the rest of those columns. Now if I go to my 3D view, have a little starting of a little building. Okay. When I come back, we'll do the windows and the doors.